A sower went out to sow his seed, and as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and it was trodden down, and the fowls of the air devoured it. And some fell upon a rock, and as soon as it was sprung up, it withered away because it lacked moisture. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up with it and choked it. And others fell on good ground and sprang up and bore fruit an hundredfold.
I'm your host, Melanie,
And I'm Tiffany,
and we are two outdoorsy bookish baldies.
and this is Words in the Wild. We're back to Rappy Rap. I kind of feel disrespectful. I've been calling her Octavia Butler, but it's Octavia E. Butler.
Well, I think most people probably just say Octavia Butler. I feel like that's how I normally hear people reference her, so I think you're okay.
Okay, well, I heard someone say,
Oh,
and
wow.
I mentioned this probably on Beyond the Wild, but I just heard someone reference this book. I've been hearing this book referenced a lot, and I'm guessing it's because it's based in 2026, so everybody's
Yeah,
revisiting it, and also it feels like the world is coming to an end.
right? Yeah, I think, it's just especially salient right now. So, yeah,
Yes.
seems like people are. Yeah, I haven't, I feel like I'm not in that many literary circles outside of this one, so I haven't heard as many people talking about it, but I would be curious to like engage in those discussions for sure. But yeah, we have us. We got this. So.
Yes. We have Words in the Wild. Welcome back. We're wrapping
Mhm.
up another book. This season is flying.
Yeah.
It feels like it is going very, very quickly.
Yeah. But I'm excited. I feel like we've had some good books so far. I miss Trey.
I miss Trey too. That's my boo boo. Oh, I need a Trey in my life.
Right. But yeah, okay, well cool. Let's get into it then. Well, I guess first like a quick check-in as we do. How are you?
How am I doing? I'm actually very happy. It is officially slash unofficially gardening season. And I thought I wasn't going to garden. And then we had a random 60-degree weather. And I just needed to be outside. I needed my hands in the dirt. I, yeah. Not only am I gardening, because of this book, I am expanding my garden.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I'm about to grow all the food. I'm about to be self-sufficient. I just need some chickens and I'm
Yeah.
good. But I don't think they would allow me to have livestock in my yard.
Hmm.
Although
I
the
don't know. You'd
dogs,
be surprised, maybe. Chickens, I feel like, I don't know, but
I
as long
mean,
as
I
you
have
don't
a very tiny yard. So to be
yeah.
fair, it would probably be abuse if I had chickens
Okay,
in
well,
my yard.
maybe not then.
No, I won't do that to the chickens. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I don't know. Something about gardening is very therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Like it's almost kind of like when I was climbing a lot, where I could just like zone out, and I'll put on a playlist, put my headphones on, and then 4 hours later, I'm still outside, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to
Wow.
go inside.
Yeah. Nice. That's good. And I think that makes sense. I feel like that I've read research that's been done that talks about how touching dirt and like getting your hands in dirt is like healing. And I think, yeah, it's just like you're connecting it with nature so directly. And yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that you have that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
What do you,
and I'm
what do
going.
you,
I'm going dancing tonight, so
oh, yes.
I'm excited to get outside. So
Yes.
spring is here. So we gotta embrace it.
Yeah. Wow. I want to garden with you, and I feel like it'd be fun to go out dancing. I
Move
want to
to
do that
New
too.
York, the East
Oh,
Coast. I
no.
know the weather sucks, but
Oh, it's not even the I mean, it is the weather, but I could never do New York again. Oh my god, there's no way.
yeah,
But I could do the East Coast. I can't do New York. So I can
that's
get
fair.
close.
That's fair. I can't even do New York, so I'm lying to you.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear it.
How goes the
Um,
desert?
yeah, it's dry.
It's still
And
dry.
it's still dry and it's been warm. I think yesterday it was probably a high of like mid to high 70s and probably the same today. So it's getting warm like quickly. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know how intense the heat gets, but yeah, I think yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah. I'm glad to be outside. I went like skating yesterday and that felt good. And I should have gone today this morning, but I woke up kind of late today. So I will try to make some time this afternoon. But yeah, that felt really good. And
I
um,
love it.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's me.
It's always so tough wrapping it up.
I know, but I wish okay, I'm glad that there's a sequel. It would be cool to read that, but I feel like we're gonna wanna, like, get into it before I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that can be, like, some special content because I do wanna read the sequel.
We'll read the next book and we'll just
Yeah.
talk about that on Beyond the Wild.
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah.
So
I'm
head
very excited.
over to the link in the show notes and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have different content there. One thing I'm gonna
Yeah.
say right now,
What?
I am retiring guessing what is
Okay.
going to happen in these books. I'm
Okay.
done. I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm just not good at it. I've concluded that my
You're
writing
just gonna
ideology and skills and thoughts do not make any sense cuz I did not predict any of this is all I
Wow.
can say at this point.
Yeah, yeah, so you're gonna just allow yourself to suspend disbelief and just
You
try not to
know,
guess. Sometimes it's fun though. I don't
yeah,
know.
it is. I like to be surprised. So,
Yeah.
and I like to I guess every now and again that rare moment that I'm right will feel good, but
Yeah, you're like, "I'm not gonna make a career out of this."
no, no. Last week when I was talking about I'm not gonna, like, get specific, but I just am disappointed. I get it, it's the end of the world, but, like,
Huh, interesting.
I don't know.
Why?
I'm
Do you
just
think are we gonna get there
we'll
later?
we'll get into it, we'll get into
Okay,
it.
here
I just say
okay,
that I'm gonna back from doing this for a minute because I am not
okay.
happy with myself. So,
Okay.
yes, let's get into these final chapters. We're wrapping up this book with chapters 20 through 25.
Mhm.
And as Melanie said, this is the first of what was supposed to be multiple books, right?
Mhm.
So it was clearly written with those other books in mind, or at least with the next book in mind. I don't exactly know the timeline and how this was like planned out structurally, but yeah, my overall thoughts is I could tell there was more. Like it
Yeah.
ended and it was very clear that like where's the next chapter? Very different from My Government Means to Kill Me where it ended and I just wanted more of that. This was
Mm.
like it feels incomplete. Like this can't just be the end.
Okay, so we're just okay, right, yeah. It feels like
So,
a season finale kinda,
yeah,
not a series finale, yeah.
yes, 100%. So,
Yeah.
that's my overall thoughts, but we can jump
Yeah.
into the
I'll do
chapters.
yeah, I'll just do I'm gonna just go through this as if it's, like, one chunk.
Yeah, yeah, because it was kinda,
Um,
like, short and
yeah,
some were short, some were long, but it was
and they
what it
each
was.
fed into, like it felt like they fed into the next one, so
Yeah.
they all felt just so continuous, so, yeah, but yeah, so, basically the book kinda where we pick up is there's a fire that forces a detour on the path that they were taking. I think they were gonna take US 101 and pass through the Bay Area, and there's a fire that kind of forces them to take a detour. And along their detour, Bankole finds an orphan
My
child.
God, another child,
Yeah.
another I just was like, "Seriously? More kids?
It's a
More kids?"
community.
No.
You know, it's a that's
I guess
they're
they're
the
trying to
future.
restart society.
Right. Yeah.
Another kid? All I could
I
think was
know.
like, "Why?"
Yeah, has how many are well, right now, there's just 1, right? It's Dominic, right? He's the baby.
I'm just saying another well, is it right now? Okay, fine. I'm gonna shut up then. Yes, just so many kids, and I'm not
Yes.
anti-kids, like, come on, y'all,
Yeah.
but it's just feeling like so I'm watching the show Paradise right now,
Uh,
which is very similar to this book in a way.
hmm.
Great show. Great, great, great show, and, fellow STLian Sterling K. Brown is in it.
Uh-huh.
Immaculate actor, I love him so, so much.
Yeah.
But this isn't a spoiler per se, but, like, on the show, he's stuck with an orphaned kid, and then his wife gets latched on to an orphaned kid during the end of
Oh,
days, end of world. So, it's just
oh.
so funny to me.
Yeah, interesting, huh? Yeah,
It
the kids, they find us.
they
Well,
find
somebody.
somebody.
Yeah, not me. But yeah, so he finds an orphan child named Justin, and they decide to keep him because you can't abandon an innocent child, like, even if you don't want to take them, you can't. You'd have to be a psychopath.
If
Just
you
like, I'm
say
like, "Kid,
so.
I don't if it was"
There's only so many
ah.
crackers you got in your pack.
I don't know, with such a large group of them, I think that, like, I just feel like it would be really cruel to
It would, it would,
Yeah.
it would, it absolutely would. But I feel like if we put this into a real world perspective,
Yeah.
how many orphan kids do you think people are gonna come across? Because kids are resilient
Mhm.
and they're sneaky and they hide, they can fit into smaller spaces. So I just wonder how many kids, and I know there's like we're gonna get to this group of kids at some point, but like I just you just can't save them all. You can't save all the kids. Like, in
Yeah,
in end of days, real world end of days, you can't save them all. Just
yeah.
saying.
No, that's real. That's real. I mean, you can't go out and get them, but, if they come to you, I don't know. I think I admire I think what they did. It would have been hard, especially if I was by myself. I agree. But, they do end up taking him in. And Justin and Allie become attached. Allie had a son who was killed by their dad as an infant. And so I think that it makes sense. Justin's obviously looking for like a mom, and something draws him to Allie. And maybe it's the fact that she is also kind of like, missing her child. And I don't want to say looking to replace him, but, looking for that connection.
Mhm.
Um, and then, yeah, Lauren finally kind of like discusses Earthseed with Bankole. I wrote in the show notes, Lauren and Bankole do it
Oh my god. Oh my
because they
god.
do.
I
They
wrote
did it.
I wrote that intimacy is growing, and then I was just like like, I don't know. I just I can't. I can't fully wrap my head around it. Like, I am all
Yeah.
for I kn she's just, like, barely an adult for me. I guess that's why
Yeah.
this is so hard. Like, she's not even legally able to drink.
Yeah.
And I just oh, I could not in any way connect with their relationship emotionally. Like, I wasn't like, "Yeah."
Mhm.
Like, it felt very much the hell was that?
Mhm.
It felt very much like if homeboy comes back around, she's out. it's
Pardon?
just like something to do, but I
Mm,
don't think
okay.
she's really into him.
Yeah.
I do think that as a society, we need physical touch.
Yeah.
We need intimacy. Um, and I think those were the options. That was the option she had,
Right.
realistically. I don't really feel like they connect, have anything in common. She's talking to him about Earthseed, but it's clear he's kinda just, like,
Like, I
not really
don't
into
really
it. Yeah.
believe this, yeah.
Yeah,
He's not
and
really
but he
buying it.
finds out her age, like, after the like,
Yeah, I
I don't
know.
know. That just kinda, like,
Rubbed you
put me
weird.
into a, "Welp, this is not what I had on my bingo card," but,
Really? Hmm. Like, even when he first came into the picture or just like
mm-mm,
ah,
mm-mm. I never thought this was gonna go there. I really did. I told you I thought her daddy was gonna pop back up. So, like,
yeah.
I thought he was just like a father figure because she,
Hmm.
even mentioned that he's close to her father's age or something. Like,
Yeah.
I I don't know what I thought this was gonna be, but I never thought it was gonna go into full-blown relationship. And what's interesting to me is that, and I get it, like, end of world, right? But, like,
Mhm.
nobody's crinkling up their nose or eyes, or, like, it's just, like, business as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old guy's messing with the 18-year-old, like, it's cool.
Right.
I mean,
In their group.
yeah, in their group. Like, I get
Mm.
it. She's legal, he's legal. What
Yeah.
else do you have? And I'm sure he has working sperm, and, he can reproduce because
I
that's
feel like
the
for the group, they probably just had other stuff to I don't know, but it just seems like they're like, "We out here trying to survive. I
yeah,
can't be worried
exactly.
about what you."
Exactly. Like I
Yeah.
said, this is a very different scenario, so, I'm
Mm.
clearly looking at it from a lens of, like, now and
Everything
not.
was normal or, like, in
Yeah,
a baseline, yeah.
but,
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I still feel like somebody in town, somebody else comes into the group that's more, not even just closer to her age, but just in line with her ideology. Like, I just feel like, and I get it, opposites attract,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I'm not feeling this union.
Yeah.
And it's
Mm.
beyond just the age part of it. Like, yes, age plays a part to some degree,
Right.
but there's more to it for me than the age thing. So, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, like, I feel like he's not really into it, and he, like it feels like it is a situation that's, like, largely based in, like, convenience, like, they were just, like, around, and he has certain resources, and,
Yeah.
she's a pretty young
And she
thing,
had
and
condoms.
yeah, and so, yeah, like, it was just like, "Okay, like, this kind of works," but it's not like I don't know. I think that as important as Earthseed is to her, like, to have somebody who's pretty lukewarm about it, it just doesn't really like, she doesn't seem like the kind of person who would, in the best of circumstances, try to convince somebody else to believe in Earthseed,
Yeah.
so that they could be together. But, at the time, the way things are going, he has a lot of land and he wants to share it
Well, and I don't know if
with
she knows about the land yet at this point. I think she suspects once they start hooking up. I think that's when
yeah,
she starts to, like, suspect that he has a place to go. Um,
right. S
but I did find it interesting since we're so kinda, like, wrapped up in the earth seed, and I don't know what page this is on, but I wrote this quote because she was like, it was like she was kinda adamant about him embracing Earthseed before she would
Hmm,
give her body to him.
mhm,
And one thing she said that was interesting was that stumbling across the truth isn't the same as making it up. and because I think he was like, "You're just kinda making this whole religion up. This isn't like, this isn't a real thing."
Mhm.
And she's like, "No, I just found the truth and I'm sharing it. This isn't
Yeah.
something that I'm just coming up with." So I
Yeah.
really like that quote.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like house, I don't yeah, we discover these things that already existed and then we just give a name to the concept, but I'm not making this concept up. I just am kind of like naming it based on what I've
Mhm.
observed. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, so she does eventually find out that Bankole has a lot of land and his sister and her family are occupying the house. And he decides that he wants to leave the group with Lauren. She manages to convince him to keep the group together and to start Earthseed on his land. And then they also agree that they're going to get married. They decide that they're going to get hitched, and it is kind of like one of those, like, I think of it as like
What does that even mean at the end of the world, getting married? Like, is there
I
an
know,
actual
right? That part is
support and like, are y'all
does that
gonna get some
matter?
tax benefits? Like, what?
Right,
Come on.
yeah. Like, you guys can just go have your land and, like, build it up together without marriage, but I don't know, maybe I mean, if that is or if at least for her, it might be beneficial if that does involve, like, some legalities, because it might mean that she has legal claim to this land and, you know, that kinda thing, but, yeah, I agree, it's like, what uh, for the most part, what's the point?
Yeah.
Um, but, yeah, so they are continuing on their journey, and during a night watch, Allie was it Allie? Somebody was doing the night watch and was not really paying attention.
I think it was Allie.
Okay. And, this woman and her child, Emery and Tori, end up kinda, like, sneaking up and sleeping nearby, I think just to try to get some safety and protection, because there was a large number of people. I'm not entirely sure why they made that choice, but they did choose to kinda sleep close by. Um, and the group, ends up taking them into the fold, offering them food, and decides to kind of just like take this woman and her child into the fold. And then I think maybe a couple of days later,
More
more,
people. My
more
God.
children.
It's like, where? Why? Ah, I guess you gotta build up Earthseed somehow. So
Yeah, yeah. So Tori, the little girl, Emery's the mom, Tori's the child, ends up befriending this child, Domora, and Domora is attached to her father, Grayson Mora.
that
And
guy. That guy.
yeah, yeah, right. Tough guy. And so they end up kind of also joining the group, but Grayson is just he is just
A
um
nightmare. He's an
yeah,
absolute nightmare.
he's a difficult man. Yeah. Um, and so, yeah, he ends up kind of like joining the group, but he's like reluctant and kind of bitter about it. And all of them, I think, Emery and Grayson for sure. I don't really know exactly how it works with children, but they're all former slaves. And so they like, I think Emery and Tori were in this community that was similar to Olivar, where they were like doing labor that was like kind of like indentured servitude and kind of
Mhm.
going into debt. And they eventually were able to escape. And I can't quite remember Grayson's story, but he also ends up um, becoming essentially a labor slave. And yeah, that's them.
That's so, and you know what's crazy? Because I think why this book hits for people is because of the potential reality of it.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wrote down about this chapter was that politicians passed a law to support debt slavery. So it's like if you needed to get out of debt, you basically it was like this, it was a cycle, like they would never get out of debt. Like, they would
In the real in real life?
no, in this book.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Oh,
like, they passed a
right.
law essentially legalizing slavery again.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I just that's just one of the things that, like, makes my the back of my skull tingle because 'cause I'm just like, "Oh."
Interesting. Does that hit close to home for
The level
you?
of uprising that would happen if I mean, to be fair, the
Yeah.
modern day prison system is essentially
Yeah. Mm.
it's the same thing, so I
Yeah.
guess it is what it is, but I just yeah, it was really interesting to see this mix of families come into the fold and have this different perspective and Yiddishness, like, they were just or skittishness, whatever the word
Mm.
is, they were just
Mhm. I was
very,
like,
like
"Jewish?"
yeah. But it was very, like, "Don't
Yeah.
touch me, don't talk to me, don't" they did
Right.
very untrusting, which is interesting that they would
Yeah.
even, like, join a group, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but when you're in that situation, it's like they were kind of yeah, it is interesting, and it's also like I don't know, because on the one hand, I'm like, well, maybe they like if they were up to no good, maybe like this group was like a source, like an opportunity for them, and so like but I'm like, I would think that if they were gonna try to like manipulate the group or like try to steal or rob, that they would try to make themselves more likable, so that they could be a little bit more stealthy in their
Yeah.
approach. But
Yeah,
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 yeah, I don't
that's
know.
fair. I don't know, these whole last chapters,
Mhm.
I was just waiting for somebody to turn. I was just
Mhm.
wait because it just it I'm not gonna lie, it surprised me that so many people I mean, I was to be honest, for probably the majority of Bankole's presence in this book, I was convinced that he was gonna
Mhm.
do some crazy stuff.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, it's either gonna be a child or an older person, somebody that they wouldn't suspect.
Yeah.
And so when these 4 came in and the mom, Emery, is just kind of her own and then Grayson being trash, I
Mhm.
was just like, it couldn't be these people who do something because 'cause they're just it's almost too obvious.
Mhm.
So, I don't know,
Yeah.
my paranoia was just constantly, like, waiting for somebody
Yeah.
to flip and something to happen, and all we got was midnight battles.
Yeah, a lot of those and fires. So yeah, I mean, right, like Grayson and Emery, they kinda like are a little bit misfits, there's something up with them. I think Lauren suspects that there's something up with them, and a couple of other people are like, "Ah, they don't quite fit in." They kind of like link up amongst themselves. So Grayson and Emery sort of decide to become a couple. And Grayson agrees to join the group, but he causes a lot of trouble at first. He's got this like macho sort of vibe and like, kind of questions the authority in the group. Um, and at some point, the group gets attacked. Lauren gets wounded. Uh, Jill gets killed. And I think
She
that
gets for
this
real hurt, not even just, like, empath hurt, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She gets pretty severely wounded, and is in a lot of pain. And I think that, and she's bleeding, and um, yeah, it's pretty bad. But Bankole patches her up, and I think that this moment kind of so I think that through this, Lauren kind of like figures something out about Emery and Grayson. So I don't she
Mhm.
figures out that they are also sharers. And I don't
Oh,
know that
yes.
she would have like figured that out. Like I don't know why, but I just feel like when she got wounded, something about the way that they reacted, something about the way that Emery reacted, Lauren was
And
like,
their
"I've been
kids are
having."
sharers too.
Yeah, yeah, right. And so, yeah, Lauren is like, "I've been having, like, some weird feelings about these people. I don't know quite what it is." And in that moment, after she gets attacked and wounded, she, like, sort of the pieces come together. She connects the dots and realizes, "Oh, okay, they are sharers." Um, and they're kids, right, exactly. Um, and so, yeah, that's I don't know, it's interesting, like, thinking about what it's like to communicate with them, or, like, I don't know, it's interesting that she kind of, like, didn't recognize her own people at
Yeah.
first, um, but they have that in common, and the group finally reaches Bankole's land.
Oh, wait, did you mention that Jill was killed?
I did, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Jill was
Yeah,
killed,
because
so yeah.
you're
Allie
like, "Screw Jill, don't nobody care about Jill."
No! It's like, well, the odds
Except for her
were
sister Allie, who I felt like just yeah.
Rest in peace, Jill. We know we care about Jill, but I feel like the book didn't really spend that much time
No, they
on
got rid of the
Jill.
least interesting character, to be honest. They
I
really did.
know, right?
It was like, "We gotta get rid
Wow.
of somebody, let's just get rid of Jill." No need to
Right?
even think about
Wow,
her.
that's so interesting. I didn't think about that, but yeah, she was the 'cause Allie had the kid, Natividad and Travis, they were
And
a couple,
the
they had
kid.
the kid, Lauren and Bankole, Harry and Zara, and Jill was just like, "Okay."
He's like, "We gotta keep this in groups of 2s, and you're the odd person out, so bye, Felicia."
So, yeah, damn, rest in peace, Jill. Casualty. But yeah, so, yeah, that's what happened. They and then they eventually reached Bankole's land, and they discovered that there had been a fire at least a few months ago, because the vegetation, I think, at that point is starting to grow back. But they see that Bankole's house is burned down. They find bones, and they kinda conclude that it's the bones of his sister and her family. There's no way to be 100% certain, but if her whole house is gone and there are
Yeah,
bones in the ruins, then, I mean, you
yeah,
can kinda put 2 and 2 together. Um,
and that was 5 people.
yeah.
They had 3 whole kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of tragedy.
Yeah.
Um, but so,
He didn't
yeah.
seem that broken up. It also seemed like he wasn't really accepting it. Like, with
Yeah.
his whole "let me go to the cops," which, bro, do you know what year it is? Why
Right.
what you gonna do at the police station? Like, what?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was kinda crazy to me.
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah. I mean,
But it's denial, it's fair, it's fair.
yeah. Yeah, because if you don't, it's kinda like Lauren with her father. It's like if
Yeah.
you don't have a body, there's always gonna be that little glimmer of hope. Um,
But they had bones. At least,
yeah.
like, she don't have
She's like, "How
anything
do I
from her
know this bone belonged to my sister?" This
yeah.
could be
I mean,
anybody's bone.
it could be. It could their whole compound coulda gotten taken over by somebody else,
Yeah.
and those could be, like, the fire-loving addicts who
That
got
is
burned.
real. That's like a valid, not negligible chance that something like that
Yeah,
happened.
they coulda ate his family, and those well, look,
Whoa.
we glossed over it, but there was some cannibal kids up in
Yeah,
the
there were, yeah.
in the
That's true.
woods, so,
That's true.
let's be real, when
Yeah.
times hit,
Yeah.
cannibalism may become a thing. People don't
Oh
wanna talk
god.
about it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta eat.
Well, how about that? So, yeah, yeah, they end up kind of, like, trying to figure out ways to honor the family members that they've all lost,
Yeah,
and yeah, they're there. They're at Bankole's land. This is like the opportunity to begin Earthseed, and it's cool. Like, it's like, I don't know. They're here. They have so much space and so much land, and the land is kind of like in disrepair. Like, the house
yeah,
burned down, the vegetation, some of it's been lost, but it's still potential, and it's a lot of potential, and
and
it's
Lauren brought the seeds.
she brought the seeds, like, yeah, and they already had some trees that that had still managed to survive, like, it's not
Yeah.
like they're starting completely from nothing, and I don't know, just reading that filled me with so much excitement and hope, honestly, like, I was like, "Yes, I would
Yeah.
love an earth seed, like, where can I sign
Right?
up?"
Say
Like, yeah,
word.
I'm down to do the labor, let's get it, like, I'm
It's so
down.
fun and not
Yeah.
fun, but also fun. It's
Yeah.
like now when you gotta deal with, like, pests, that sucks,
Right. Yeah.
or rodents, like, if you have
Mm.
like, land, you gonna
Yeah.
have rats to deal with, deer to deal well, I don't know, I'm guessing all the deer is gone, like, people
Mm.
eating the deer left and
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
If a
True.
deer stumble into your garden, that's a blessing.
Yeah, right, right. You picked the wrong
So
one.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but it is a lot of work. But
Yeah.
when you have a community like that, it actually isn't that bad. It's one thing when it's just
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 people, but if you have that's why community gardens are so nice, when everybody's kinda, like, taking care of their space and adding to the ecosystem and planting
Yeah.
flowers, and some people are
Yeah.
No, it sounds
Oh,
joyous. I mean, it's obviously not because it's the
true.
end of the world, but it sounds
Yeah.
like a dream.
Yeah, yeah. So, I don't know, that's why I was really surprised to see the hesitance from some people. I mean,
Right? Where are you going?
that's what I was saying, like,
Go to Can
everybody
go to Canada then. Go buy. Go figure it out. Write me a
right?
letter. Let me know how
Right, because
Canada
there's
works.
just land for sale, like an abundance of free land just around. Okay, there's an abundance of jobs.
Yeah.
Like, it was everybody, like, everybody was pretty much on board, and they were like, "I don't think we can make it work," and I'm like, "Listen, you got a 100%, like, better chance of making it work here than you have of, like,
Yeah.
literally taking one step further." Like, it's like but the one who really blew my mind was Harry talking
That
about
boy.
I want my own land. Imma go get a job somewhere. It's like, "Harry, where?" Like, they are out here paying people for jobs in scraps of food, and you think that you're gonna
His
somehow buy
whole
land?
his whole white privilege was showing
Oh my
out the
god.
ass in this chapter.
Wow,
'Cause
yeah.
he just like, "Imma get a job. I'm just gonna go," and then it's like, "I went, there's no jobs in town. Yeah, you said there would be jobs. I'm gonna go somewhere. Go find a job,
Okay,
please.
Harry. Good luck.
Get away from here,
Right.
because your energy is not needed in Earthseed. Earthseed is
Right?
not about this."
Right?
He was so all for self, and, like, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess he cared about Zara, but it really felt like he was just speaking for himself to me, and
Yeah. I know,
I don't know.
he didn't even mention her when he talked about wanting
Mm-mm.
to get his own land. He was just like, "I want something for myself." Like, I wanna say that I owned it." I'm like, So you can just say that you owned it? Like, you
Yeah.
literally have land right here. Why would you go somewhere else to try to, like why? It doesn't make sense, like
And who is selling land right now? Like, who is you just gonna
how
have to
you gonna
you're
buy
gonna
it?
take over someone's land. You ain't buying nobody's land. You're gonna have to
Right,
attack and take over, and you telling me you, who has
right.
probably the least skills in
Experience.
shooting and
Yeah.
attacking, you the one who,
Lord, you
we're just
killed
gonna rob people?"
somebody? Yeah,
His little
you're
scary
right.
self. Now you wanna be big bag McGrath, like you just been out here in the streets forever. I would have
Mhm.
been like, "You know what, Harry? Earthseed does not need you. This is not
Right.
this is not how Earthseed moves. You do not represent our values. I think you should keep it
You're
moving."
not aligned. This
I
is not
would
a good culture fit.
this is not a good fit for you. Bring him into the office and let him know this is not working out.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That I was like, "Harry, shut up. Go and sit down somewhere. You ain't going nowhere. Like, you're not going nowhere." Um, but
I know.
anyways. Yeah, so they all eventually agree to stay, and it's the beginning of Earthsea, y'all. Like, this is it. We've arrived, and so
And
yeah,
they
they're
named their
like,
community
yes.
Acorn.
Yeah. Acorn. Yeah. And so
It was interesting too, the final passage of the book. I think Imma
oh,
read it.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I think it was interesting because at first I thought it was from Earthsea.
Mm.
But
Oh.
yeah, I was like when I initially started reading it, I was like, "Oh, that's cute. She's gonna close it out with the Earthseed passage," and then I'm like, "Oh, no, this is straight out the
This
Bible."
is the Bible, the word of the Lord.
But it's clearly kinda like the inspiration not just for Acorn, which is this community that they're forming, but also for the name of the book. It kinda represents, what this book was about. So I'm just gonna read it. And it actually comes from the Bible, as I said, the King James Version, St. Luke 8, verses 5 through 8. A sower went out to sow his seed, and as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and it was trodden down, and the fowls of the air devoured it. And some fell upon a rock, and as soon as it was sprung up, it withered away because it lacked moisture. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up with it and choked it. And others fell on good ground and sprang up and bore fruit an hundredfold. And so I think they kind of named it
Hmm.
Acorn, or they named it after this because they're, in my mind, they're the fruit who kind of sprang up and rose to the occasion. They're like, we made it through
Mhm.
the battle. We made it through all the
Mm.
crazy night fights and attacks and
Mhm.
you know and so, yeah, I thought that was a beautiful way to close it out, but
Yeah.
again, I need to see what is popping in Acorn, so I am going to be
Right?
going to get Parable of the Talents
Yes, oh my god, wow.
soon.
I love that, yeah. Yeah, I know, right? I wanna know too, like, I mean, I read the 2nd book, but it's been a while, and so even this one, like, it had been a while, so it's like, I feel like I'm rereading it all over again in some ways, and yeah, I'm really excited about getting into Parable of the Talents. Well, I had some questions that I thought we could kinda, like, just general discussion questions. We have a few more minutes that to kinda chat about some stuff if you're
Yeah,
down with
let's do it.
that. Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I really kinda wanted to talk in general about the Earthseed religion, and so I found, some of these books a lot of these questions came from the back of the book. Um, so I'll start with this first one about the religion of Earthseed. Earthseed can be described as a cold religion since it has such an impersonal God. Is there anything about it that you think could be described as comforting or liberating? Do you believe God has a consciousness, is a thinking being, or or is Earthseed a system of beliefs that appeal to you? Yeah, just what are your feelings about Earthseed and I guess religion in general, but I'm especially curious about Earthseed.
I mean, I think the thing that's interesting about God being impersonal is kind of the draw to it. I
Yeah.
feel like people's relationship to God, not that it's, like, unhealthy, but it becomes like this this being, all-knowing being, has so much expectation of you to be this or be that, and yes, there's no judgment, but I think people use it. We've seen
Mhm.
people use the power of God, religion, to try to crucify other people, like, "How dare
Yeah.
you wear those shorts? God don't like that. How dare you curse like that? God don't like" and it's like,
Mhm.
I think why this was so interesting and fascinating for me as someone who considers themselves spiritual and
Mhm.
not religious, only because and this could end up happening. I don't, know where they're gonna go with this in the next book. But the thing that I find that happens with organized religion
Mhm.
is that somebody wants to be the leader and it becomes if you're not perfectly religiousing this way, then you're not of God, like, and I didn't like the judgmental aspects that I
Mhm.
felt in organized religious spaces.
Mhm.
Um, I think, probably a few years ago, I started looking into Buddhism,
Hmm.
um, because I think one thing that happens, at least especially in the Black community when it comes to religion, is that you just adopt whatever your family says is the Bible. It's like,
Yeah,
"We're Baptists, we're Christians,
right.
we're
Yeah,
Methodists, we're the," you just absorb it and you don't
right.
really you're not really
Question
given
it or
license to educate your own,
deviate, yeah,
and so
yeah.
I struggled because at one point I was with someone who was Catholic and I was just and but Catholic and an atheist, like raised
Mm,
Catholic, but self-identified as an atheist. And that
mhm.
always bothered me. I'm like, well, I believe in God. How can I can't be with someone who doesn't believe in God? And I did
Yeah,
and was, but and then I just started having my own struggles with the pastors and the pastors in these churches.
yeah,
And I'm just like, wait. And then they just talk about give me ties, give me money, and and I kind of knew some back office money situations, and I was just like, you're
right,
not asking me for money because I owe ties and this is about my commitment to God. This is because we need to keep the lights on in the church.
right.
And it's
Or
like,
keep
and
you,
y'all aren't
like, with the latest model make and model of, like,
yeah, that new stage we
the
gotta
latest
build.
Cadillac, like, or whatever. Sometimes it's more yeah, that, and sometimes it's just, like, you're lining your pockets, like
Yeah, and I
yeah,
that's what made me kinda separate from what I grew up as Methodist,
yeah.
but I always still felt kinda spiritual, and I think the thing I like about Earthseed and the fact that it's all these parables and it's, again, more of a ghost god, like, it's not any one thing, it's just, you are God, God has changed, everything is God, is what I like about it,
Mhm,
mostly because I feel like to really for me, religion is all about the words and s and like, to be honest, when people talk about reading the Bible or, studying the Bible and living by the word, I really associate religion with manifestation. Like, I
hmm,
just feel like if you do speak positively and
mhm,
also believe strongly in karma, it's like if you speak positively and you live positively,
mhm,
positive things can happen. Now that doesn't mean that negative stuff doesn't happen to good people. Like I get it. That's,
mhm.
the nature of life. Sorry, I'm looking at a squirrel.
Hmm.
Um when you have a garden, you gotta
Mhm.
watch out.
Oh, he's vigilant.
I
Uh-huh.
got cats and squirrels in my yard. But yeah, I don't know. What I believe is in manifestation. I believe that if you write what you want and what you seek and what you feel and what you need, if you speak these things, if that is through reading a Bible and passages in a Bible that inspire you, that's fine. However, you get that word out, but that's to me, that's my religion, and that's my
Mhm,
connection, and I have not found a community that I resonate with. The only reason I kinda paused on Buddhism,
mhm,
and I know this is really stupid,
mhm.
is I don't believe as a Buddhist you can drink. Now,
Mhm.
mind you, I don't drink. I really rarely drink,
Yeah.
but I like to have a wine here and there. I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
have a little cocktail tonight.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, I didn't know if I could be that perfect of a Buddhist.
But
And
it's like
again, I don't
yeah.
wanna subscribe to anything that requires of me to be so perfect and so follow, these certain rules to seek to get to achieve nirvana, which is ultimately
Yeah.
kind of
Hmm.
the goal of Buddhism.
But yeah, I hear that. I do hear that. And it's like I don't feel like you have to be a Buddhist to learn and like get something from the teachings and like, let them resonate with you. Like I think you can like take the things that like I don't know. Like I feel like I think what I would like to have is like my own little like sort of patchwork religion where I take the pieces that like resonate with me and that work and like, leave the things that I can't really that don't really align with me. So, yeah, I hear you and I feel like, you know, hopefully you feel like you can like take the things that from Buddhism that like really resonate with you and keep those and like as like a compass and a guide and
But
continue to have your
what
cocktail.
about the community aspect for you? Because see, that's the
Mm,
thing. Some people, and specifically, if we look at Lauren and Earthseed, she's
yeah.
very adamant that like everybody's kind of got to be on the same page and
Yeah.
respect Earthseed.
But
And
everybody doesn't have to go to the stars. She has some flexibility.
yes, this is true. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like for some, it is about community, and we talk a lot about community in the outdoor space, the climbing space, and there is something that feels good about having people who align with the things that you align with, that connect with the things that you connect with.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
if I wanted to go to a Buddhist temple and
Mhm.
actually meditate and learn the art and truly learn the art of meditation, like, I mean, I struggle and I'm still not there. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, I can read Buddhism principles and I can study and I can learn and I can even follow certain things, but like I low key wanted to find a community,
Yeah.
because that's what I struggled with. I didn't like how organized religion felt from a community perspective. It felt judgmental, it felt fake. There's some churches and,
Right.
"Oh, you can't be gay," but then I know there's churches where there's gay pastors, and so,
Mm.
it's like
Mm.
just trying to find a place where if ish hits the fan, you
Mhm.
have, like, people who will support you emotionally, mentally, physically, all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, and I don't know, it's interesting. I feel like the last episode we were talking about kind of like networks and just like what it means to like build a network with people who might not share the same beliefs as us, and do we all kind of need the same thing to build something together? Um and yeah, I mean, I know that kind of like deviates away from your point a little bit. I guess I think that like I just I think that there are probably like sure Buddhist temples where people are like, like they kind of like stick to the rules. They don't break it. They're like very kind of like structured and rigid with that sort of thing. But I mean, similar to how Christians like exist somewhat on a spectrum, like it's like some people are like Christian and like they follow the Bible. I'm not eating shellfish, sodomy is an abomination, like, whatever, like all of this like stuff. And then there are people who have like different interpretations. And I don't know. I just wonder like if I bet that there's community out there of people who like maybe are like somewhat flexible in their beliefs or like have like certain core beliefs that align with Buddhism or whatever other um practices like you that resonate with you. And yeah, I don't know. I like here in Albuquerque we have like meditation centers, and I have a friend who is not Buddhist, but they go to this meditation center and it kind of like draws on like Japanese meditation practices and Buddhist meditation practices. And I don't think that all of the people that go there are Buddhist or identify with any particular religion, but anybody's kind of like welcome to learn these different spiritual practices and be in community with people. So I don't know. I just say that to say I think what you're looking for probably in terms of community, I think that there's nuance and I think it exists. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I gotta, like I said, I gotta be building up the squad, the team, because when the world does end, you gotta be
Yeah.
ready. And
No.
like again, another nod to Paradise. The new season is interesting because
Mm.
they're talking about, they're I don't care, spoilers, whatever. Watch Paradise, y'all should watch it.
Mm.
Um, there's there's an episode where these gamers are like, "Oh, the world is gonna end, and we have to be ready for it." And to be ready for it, we need to convince other people to join us in the preparation for the end of the world. And if the world ends, there are certain people with certain skills that you want. And so you want to have an engineer, you want to have a nurse or doctor, you
Mhm.
want to have a carpenter, somebody who can, like a mechanic. And so
Mhm.
they basically somehow recruit all these people from all these different things. And so, when the world does end and it's happening, they're like, ring, ring, ring. All right, it's go time. Let's meet at the spot,
Yeah.
the
Get
shelter.
throw
Let's
the bat
go.
signal.
Yeah, and you have that.
Wow.
And so, I think I I'll just sum up my thoughts on religion and Earthsea specifically.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cold or impersonal. I think it's actually extremely personal, and it's
Mm.
almost like it's ultra personal because it's you forming what it is for
Yeah.
yourself.
Hmm.
And I, like, I think we may have mentioned this on or offline last week, but yeah, if a book of Earthsea came out, I'd buy it. I'd read it, I'd study it, I'd practice it, and I would,
Absolutely.
lead in some ways by some of these things. I do think, Ms. Butler was well ahead of her time and obviously did a lot of adequate research in understanding, um, what the future might look like. But I do think the interesting thing is that religion as it stands is about community and people coming together.
Mhm.
And when we think about the current state of the world and there's all this division, it does feel like when it hits the fan, because 'cause I'm not even gonna say if, I don't think we're on a, maybe I won't be alive for it, but I feel like we're on a trajectory of
Mhm.
there being a shift, and when
Mhm.
that shift happens, it's gonna just circle back to community because people are gonna need each other. There was,
Yeah.
like, an episode of Paradise where, like, this woman hadn't touched anyone in 3 years,
Mhm.
and, like, just
Mm.
hugging another person brought so much emotion. Like, if you can imagine
Yeah.
not having physical touch, like, we need physical touch, not, and
Yeah.
this isn't sexual in any way,
Mhm.
just it's just human nature,
Yeah.
and so we will need to form communities, and we will need to have communities, and even if it's just communities to laugh with, like, the olden days of going bouldering with groups of people, and it just that energy and that vibe and that feeling that you get,
Mhm.
even if you don't physically touch another person, just someone's laughter or someone's smile, like, how that can impact you. And so,
Yeah.
I think I would love it if there was a religion or a community that was about, especially that's about groundedness and being in the, earth and connecting with the earth and valuing how it gives back to
Mhm.
us, like that
Mhm.
cycle of life. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love that so much. I mean, you kind of like touched on this. I had one more question that I thought we could kind of like end on that might be a little bit more of a uh hopefully closing out on a higher note. But I feel like you kind of touched on this, but um Parable of the Sower is a speculative fiction novel. It portrays a very grim possibility, but what lessons can we take from it that can help provide hope? In what ways can people find hope or form community even when society feels like it's collapsing or going insane? How are people helping each other to survive? And are there parallels to that in our current reality? So I feel like you kind of like spoke to this a bit, but I don't know. I'm curious, like, if there is anything more that you would say to this question?
Well, one of the realities is I think people are going to end up helping people that they didn't agree with before the
Yeah.
collapse of society.
Mhm.
Whether you're anti insert anything at this point, black, trans, like, religion, like,
Yeah.
there's so many anti everythings.
Mhm.
But I think the very grim reality is that we're going to call on people that we didn't expect to call on. Um,
Mhm.
you know, People are going to need my skills. I think I said jokingly, like, my neighborhood is gonna all come to me because I garden and grow food,
Right.
and my neighbors don't talk to me, like, not for real. Like, I
Mm.
might get a head nod here and there or a wave, but
Yeah.
we're not that community that we read about at the very beginning of the book.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were that community before they built up a wall and had to survive and grow food and figure out how to connect. Like that, it just that's what it became, but that wasn't what it always was. And I think the reality is for us to survive, we're going to have to work with people that we normally wouldn't have, and maybe people we
Mhm.
don't like or support or have the same values as,
Yeah.
and that's just going to be the way it is. And hopefully some of those things start to crack a little, cuz it's like, why would my queerness bother you, or why would my religion bother you, or like
Mm.
why do I have to be defined by these things for us to connect
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean,
survive?
I think when you, like, have to rely on other people, you kind of, like, start to realize how superficial all of those
Yeah,
quote unquote "differences" actually are,
yeah,
you
it
know?
doesn't matter.
So, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
really doesn't, and you're
yeah,
gonna find
there's
that out real fast.
yeah,
When
yeah.
shit is the fan, you're gonna be like, "Oh."
We all bleed, we all poop, we all
Yep,
pee, like, we all, like, we're all born, we're all gonna die, like, there's some fundamental commonalities that matter a lot more than
yeah,
the kind of, like, identities that we assume as we go through this journey called life.
100%.
Um, yeah, well, cool, I mean, obviously there's so much more that we could talk about, but I think that that was like a really good wrap up, and of course we have Beyond the Wild for more shenanigans and chit chat.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this was good. I don't need to read more books like this. It's like I'm watching a TV show about this and I'm reading a book,
Yeah, yeah.
about it at the same time. It's just
Wow.
like, oh my god, I'm gonna
Yeah.
become one of those doomsdayer people.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
I'm
god.
already trying to plan go back. Like, what am I gonna put in my emergency bag? But then I'm like,
Wow.
where am I gonna go? Like, where? But
North.
we'll talk about that on Beyond the Wild. So.
Okay.
Oh my lord, have mercy. But no, this was great. And yeah, I am looking forward to the next book
Yeah.
up on deck. I'll let you introduce the book, not like what it's about per se, but just tell the
Mhm.
folks what the next book is, and I'll tell the folks what we're reading, because this next book is interesting. This one's a little there's there are no chapters
Yeah.
in the next book. Zero chapters. So
Okay.
we would like for you to read along with us, so we're gonna give you pages instead of chapters since this one's a little trickier.
Yeah, so we'll be reading Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and Tiff's already started it. I have not yet, so I need to get on top of it. But yeah, it is, it is, I think, a love story, and a story about women at NASA, and that is about all I know.
That's
So
a good enough summary,
yeah,
and yeah, next week we're gonna talk about pages 1 through 67. So again, if you're reading along with us, definitely go pick up the book, library, bookstore. We always, put a link in the description where you can support some local bookstores, if you like to have physical books like Mel, or if you like the library books like myself. And in some cases, you can find these books on, audio through Libby.
mhm.
I had Spotify Premium, but I canceled it, and I was
Oh
listening
my
to
god,
audiobooks there too. What
sorry.
happened? What?
I wanted to mention this earlier. I can mention this after. You should finish.
No, no,
But
no.
you
So
just
I'm just saying, there's other places if you like to listen to books. I've found that I'm not sure that my attention span is there.
yeah.
I think I would have to do like you, where I would be reading and listening at the same time, because I'm
Mhm.
not. I have a very overactive brain,
Yeah,
so
me too.
It does
Yeah,
not work well for me. But
yeah.
that's our next book, so keep riding along with us, and make sure you subscribe to our podcast so they automatically download to your feed every week. So whether
Did
you're
you
on
mention the
Spotify,
pages?
what's that? Yep.
Did you mention the pages? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, cool,
Yep,
cool.
1 through 67.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, just, follow us on Instagram, Words in the Wild Pod,
Yeah.
and, we do have a Facebook group, not a page, which is confusing,
Hmm.
as people who don't actively use Facebook, but you're welcome to go on there and comment on any of the books that we're reading and join in the discussion and, join our email list. I'm actually gonna plan some things for this spring potentially, on the East
Mhm.
Coast, and Mel and I might do some real life stuff. So
Yeah.
join the book club and connect with us.
Yay.
Any final thoughts
Um,
about you had some final thoughts?
I just wanted to mention because you mentioned Spotify, and I just wanted to mention that if you haven't actually read Parable of the Sower, like maybe this podcast inspired you to read it and you're planning on reading it, or you happen to like audiobooks, I just want to say, like, I started halfway through the book and I wish I had done it in the beginning, but the audiobook for Parable of the Sower is fire. It's so good. Like, it's the narration is done by this actress Lynn Thigpen.
Uh-huh.
Her voice, if you can remember, like, Sarabi from The Lion King, like, I
Okay.
think it was, like, it's very just, like, warm and sultry. Her voice reminds me of, like, a glass of cognac, like, just the highest
Oh.
quality, like,
Ooh.
it's just sultry and warm and a little it's rich. She has just such a rich, gorgeous voice, and I think she narrates this book, like, so impeccably, so highly recommend. It's available on Spotify, if you have that, but I think it's just the audiobook for Parable of the Sower. So I just want to shout out Miss Lynn Thigpen, rest in peace.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Really? Rest in peace?
yeah, she died
Did
in
she
like
do
maybe
talents?
2000. I don't know if she did
Because I
talent.
might listen. I might try to listen to that one.
Yeah, let's see. I should look at my phone.
I hope y'all, continue to find value in this space. And if you do, let us know, shout us out. Not really big on asking for reviews. As long as you enjoy it, we enjoy it. So just thanks for being here with us.
Yay, thanks for being here. We'll see you next time back with Atmosphere. Bye.
Ooh. Peace out. Words in the Wild, an adventure and wellness podcast produced by First Outdoor Company. Subscribe now and be sure to follow us on social media at Words in the Wild Pod.